What up, everybody, and welcome to Baz on Blades. My name is Baz, and I talk about blades, and today we are talking about a blade. I have been carrying this blade solid for the last month to get ready for this review, overview, and discussion of this design. And what we've got here today is another fine product from Protech Knives. We've got the Rockeye, designed by Les George, needing no introduction, a very prolific, very well-known designer and custom knife maker. I have chased the Protech side-opening automatic version of the Rockeye for years. I have chased this knife. If I ever catch it in stock, I don't have the money. And if I've got the money, it's not in stock. I believe that Protech Knives does, they're not even what I would call semi-custom. They're small batch production is what type of facility I believe they are. And the Rockeye just doesn't, that production run doesn't come that often. So they'll run them, they're in the stores, they sell out, and then you wait for months and months for another production run of the Rockeye. And it just never worked out for me. And one day I was over at a bladehq.com because I still use Blade HQ as a sort of reference material source for the knife enthusiast world as far as product availability. And I saw that they had a Blade HQ exclusive, not only of the Rockeye, but a Rockeye Operator. And that's what this is. This is a Rockeye Operator, but not a normal operator. It is a Blade HQ exclusive. And you may be asking yourself, Baz on Blades, well, you wouldn't be asking yourself that, but you may be asking, Baz on Blades, what makes it so damn exclusive? And it's the color of the tritium vial that is in the actuation button. The operator models have a tritium vial inlaid in the button, and it's typically green tritium. For the Blade HQ, it is blue. And I am not going to turn the lights off because it is actually daytime here in East Tennessee. And just the light bleeding in through the windows is enough to overwhelm that tritium vial. You will not be able to see it glow, even in dim light. Tritium vials, when they are not concentrated, they're sort of diffuse in the way they light. It's got to be pretty dark before they really show up. And blue tritium is not the brightest version of tritium. I honestly, if this would have had the regular green tritium, I would have been fine with that. The exclusivity it wasn't really a factor in me purchasing this. It was finding a Rockeye and a Rockeye Operator in stock somewhere that initialized my purchase of this knife. And this knife is no longer available from Blade HQ. They have sold out of it. You won't be able to find one except on the secondary market. But brand new, they were $330, and that is in line with what operator models cost. They are a little more pricey than standard Protech models. And, you know, what is an operator? An operator is totally blacked out, totally sterile. There are absolutely no markings of any type on this knife. There is no indicators of source of manufacturing, of materials, of brand, of anything. There is nothing on this knife anywhere. It is sterile, and that's what the operator models are all about, that totally blacked out sterile look. And then you get the tritium valve inlaid into the button. So I was pretty excited to catch this knife, and since it's not available, this absolute exact version is not available, we're not going to spend a lot of time on reviewing it as that version, because as far as features go, other than the tritium vial color difference, it's going to be a Rockeye Operator, and an Operator is just a blacked out version of a Rockeye. So we're going to review it as a Protech Les George designed Rockeye. So these are a full-size side opening automatic knife. They are American made. They are made in California, and they are very well made. I have owned, I think, 4 different Protech side opening automatics, 3 regular production and 1 custom shop, and they have been universally excellent examples of automatic knives. Like I say, this is a full-size knife. Let's go ahead and knock those numbers out. For your blade length, you're looking at 3.5 inches, and that is 8.5 centimeters. Your blade width at the widest, at the peak of this thumb ramp here, is 1.25 inches or 3 centimeters. Your blade stock thickness is 124 thousandths of an inch or 3.15 millimeters. Handle length is 5 inches or 12.5 centimeters. The width at the widest point at the guard of the finger choil is 1 7/16 or 3.5 centimeters. And the thickness is exactly 500 thousandths or 1/2 inch and 12.7 millimeters. What that gives you is an overall length of 8.5 inches or 21.5 centimeters. Your blade to handle ratio is 70%, 0.70, and that is very good. The weight is 4.55 ounces or 130 grams. This knife is bladed in S35VN. I don't think we really need to talk about it. It is, it's a powder metallurgy premium stainless steel with excellent edge retention, corrosion resistance, toughness. S35VN is a very good all-around performing premium stainless steel made by Crucible Steels. This time it is DLC coated black, and you can see how that coating is wearing here. Like I say, I've been carrying this exclusive. I have cut and cut and cut with it. So that coating is doing very well. And so is the excellently ground secondary bevel or edge bevel on this knife. I did not measure behind the edge thickness. It's going to be about 20 thousandths is what it feels like on this flat grind. It is a pretty doggone high. It's not absolutely a full flat, but it is a high grind. It is a slicey, I can tell you that right now. Between that excellent edge bevel, well done, Protech. That has been very consistent with all Protech knives that I have gotten. It is a very aggressive cutter on all types of media. So in your handle, you're looking at aluminum. It is billet machined aluminum there. This particular version does have the texturing panels on it, where some versions are absolutely smooth on that show side, much like the back side is on this. And I'm glad, I like to see symmetry side to side on a knife handle, but it's not absolutely necessary. And in a knife like this, that pocket clip would have fallen right in this patch of texturing. Let's take a look at that. You can see where I hold it. That's actually skin down in that texturing. It is aggressive enough to collect material in that. That would be a pocket shredder for sure if it had texture in there. Pocket clip is stainless steel. This is very much an old school design. I very much appreciate it. It is not deep carry, as you can see here. The placement is not deep carry due to the placement of a pass-through hole for a lanyard, and the pocket clip design itself is not deep carry. This is an old school pocket clip. It is much like what Benchmade has used for decades. Emerson Knives has used for decades. My custom Crawford Casper that I had built in 2008, I think. It has the same type of pocket clip on it as a 3-screw. These are extremely solid and very utilitarian pocket clips. Utility over aesthetics in this design. Much approved by Bazon Blades. I especially like that the tip of the pocket clip is not rising. It is flat. It is comfortable in the hand. All stainless steel, small parts, everything finished in black, of course. The show side is very clean, as you only get the screws on the back side here. You do have a front side adjustment for the pivot. It is T8. All the small screws are T6, and they all feel very solid, very well socketed. I've had zero issues with any materials on any Protech knife that I have ever owned. They are very well made, very good examples of side opening automatics. Let's go ahead to the action on this knife, and it is phenomenal. It has a very strong spring in it. In fact, let's see if we can catch this at our frame rate here. I'm going to brace my hand and hold it as solid as I can and open this, and you will notice maybe there is some blade bounce. I don't know if I can replicate that. There you go. I don't know if you can see that in the frame rate, but if you hold it solidly, okay, where all of that inertia is going to be taken up right here in the spring and not in movement of the handle in your hand, you can get some blade bounce. It's never failed to lock up for me. That spring is very strong. It pushes it right into the lock position. I've never had even a hint of any play at all in the lockup. I'm just trying to stress how strong the spring is. It's very snappy. It is basically instantaneously opening, and it feels really strong in the hand. And I don't have that pivot loosened up to where it's loose. I typically run my knives pretty tight on the pivot, and that includes automatics. I don't want any pivot in or play in the pivot joint, as that makes a knife that is made of multiple parts weaker. If it is not clamped down sufficiency at this connecting point between these two major parts, it is a weaker folder. It must be tightened down. Take out that play, that flex. You do not want that flex at that joint. Even in an automatic, run it as tight as you can without hampering the action. The centering on this thing, straight down the center, guys. The lockup is absolutely rock solid with zero hint of play of any type. Okay, these knives are on phosphor bronze bushings. It is very smooth. Everything about the action is very good. I mean, top tier. You're not going to get any better than that. I can't imagine you're going to get any better than that, especially in a production side opening automatic made in the United States, around $300. Come on now. This is an exceptionally well actioned knife for that. Let's go on to fit and finish on this. It is, it's perfect. I mean, we'll get up here close. You guys can look all around this knife. Everything, the joiner between the halves is beautiful and tight. No gaps. The finish, that hard coat anodization on the aluminum is perfectly done. Beautiful feel in the hand. This sort of satiny matte. It's got some satin sheen to it, but a matte feel. I mean, you can hear the texture under my fingers, but it's got a little bit of sheen to it. That it's beautiful. It's a beautiful, subtle finish. This machining is a fine inset checkering. It is beautiful, and it is working texturing. I mean, you can see this is foreign material trapped down in that checkering. From where I hold that knife, I've rubbed on that knife. The fit and finish on the blade, I've never had a problem with anything on a Protech knife. Their QA, QC is very stringent. The grinds on this blade are exacting side to side. It is very symmetric. It is very cleanly ground. All the grind lines are crisp. You have a beautiful swedge on this drop point blade. It's got a high tip. It is, as far as a drop point goes, it is on the tactical side of the design of a drop point. It is very stabby. The tip is very well done. It is absolutely sharp, not rolled at all in the sharpening process, and it catches instantly with zero pressure, just touching against something. Let's go back here to this thumb ramp and the jimping. Look at how big and how deep that jimping is. Look at that thumb ramp in line with the design of this knife. Look at the placement of the thumb ramp in relationship to the finger choil. This angle is exactly what you want to see. Les George understands across his different designs the correct placement of thumb jimping and thumb ramps in relationship to your finger choil. In your hand, your finger falls into that choil. Your thumb extends out naturally to that thumb ramp. If the thumb ramp and jimping is back here above the finger choil, then this is what you end up with. I've compressed my thumb way back into my grip. I can feel the stress right here. In fact, compressing it back is enough to whiten my thumb right here, okay? If you open that up, your grip becomes much more natural. The added benefit of moving your thumb forward is it modifies the perceived balance point or rotation point of that knife, okay? Back here, it feels like I'm rotating right here. I've got all of this in my hand, and every bit of this is being rotated. It is a much clumsier feel, but if I move my thumb forward and I have a leverage point forward, it changes the perceived center point of that rotation in my hand. And it makes it feel much more natural. I have much more control of the cutting surface as I'm closer to it, and I am more balanced in my grip. I can more naturally rotate for cutting. I'm not compressed all back in and uncomfortable and weakened. When your grip becomes uncomfortable, it is weakened. That's one of the reasons it's uncomfortable. I very much absolutely love this design. I honestly, there's only one thing I would change about this design. It is 100% subjective for my usage and the way I carry a knife. I would do away with the lanyard hole, and I would move this pocket clip back, and I would probably just go to a deep carry pocket clip. Protech does have, I think, a couple of different deep carry pocket clips that they do put on some of their knives, and that could be sourced to use here. And like I say, that's subjective. It doesn't impact the use of this knife. It carries just fine with that pocket clip. In fact, this pocket clip sort of fits the feel of this knife. This knife to me feels more like the year 2000 than it does 2025. It has a very old school, tactical sort of vibe to it. It really reminds me of the Ernest Emerson stuff from that era, in that it 100% comes off as a tool. Everything about this knife is thought through thoroughly, and it adds to the usefulness, the utilitarian ness, the tool-like-ness of this knife. It feels like a real cutting tool in your hand. It has enough weight behind it. It's not ultra light that it feels solid in the hand. It's just got just enough weight. 4.5 ounces or 130 grams. That is just enough weight to lend it that very solid feeling. And then you add in an absolute bank vault lockup on that button lock for this side opening automatic. It just comes together to be a very solid, very capable feeling knife in the hand. This is absolutely my favorite side opening automatic that I've ever owned. That includes all of the Protechs that I have owned, all of the Kershaw Launch Series knives that are also American made. I like this design better than many custom side opening automatics that I've had in hand, even though I've never owned any. I just very much like this design. It appeals to me in a certain time frame. It gives me a feel of nostalgia over an era of the knife evolution, the late 90s, early 2000s, that I sorely miss in modern knives. This knife is just, it's just fucking cool. I mean, I'm sorry about my language, but I'm not. It's just fucking cool, this knife. The design is fantastic. The build is fantastic. Man, $330 is a lot of money. Let's be straight. $330 for a damn pocket knife? That's a luxury item. This is absolutely a luxury item. Okay, I'm not a freaking Navy SEAL that needs a tactical, sterilized, side-opening automatic, which I doubt any Navy SEAL would carry anyway, not into combat. But $330? It seems like a steal for this knife. In hand, it's got the feel, it's got the action, it's got the design. It is so useful in the hand that $330, even though it is an ass wad of money, it just seems like a good deal. Now, that said, normal versions of the Rockeye, you're going to get down towards $200. I think they're starting out around like $220. I think in CPM D2 maybe. I've seen variants in CPM D2, 3V. I think PVK right now has a blue smooth side with black blade in 3V that is an exclusive they have, I think, in stock. I had a hard time finding any Rockeyes in stock. We must be in between production runs on this knife. So they're going to be slim out there, but it is a knife worthy of keeping on your radar. If you deal with a company that does notifications for restocks, sign up for the notifications on the Rockeye. And then if it comes back in, when it comes back in on the next production run, grab you one. I don't think that you're going to do any better as far as a utilitarian, tactical, premium, American-made side-opening automatic. It's a step up from the Kershaw launch models. It's got that last little nth degree of more in every respect that separates a $200 American-made auto from a $300 American-made auto. I think that Protech being basically, even though they do some non-automatic knives, basically being a primarily side-opening automatic manufacturer, they have it down to a precision and an art that no other production manufacturer has, in my opinion. And in my experience, I've held a lot of side-opening automatics up to, custom Volatin family, really nice, like artsy type of knives that were like $3,000. It feels really, really good, really, really solid, hard hitting, and very useful. There you go. The Protech manufactured, Les George designed Rockeye side opening automatic knife. This one is Blade HQ exclusive, no longer available. This is an ongoing model. If it's not in stock, wait for it. It is very much worth it. Very much worth it. As always, thank you very much for taking the time to watch one of my videos. God bless all of you, and we will talk to you later. One more opening. Oh, that is so good.